Well, we got to wake up to two things this morning. First was this HuffPost. This is their splash page. Venomous wake. I'm sure you watched the footage of the Charlie Kirk memorial yesterday. Did you feel it was venomous? But why would we expect anything less from the HuffPost? But not the headline story today, not by a stretch of the imagination, because in light of the memorial of Charlie Kirk, simultaneously, the FBI now releases, according to a post by Kash Patel himself, that those three conspiracy theories, well, could be true. Well, we're going to cover all the details here in just a few seconds. As the director of the FBI, I'm committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion, Kash Patel starts. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond the initial findings. We are examining every facet of this assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, but that's not all they're exploring. You see, they haven't closed any of the doors that you would expect them to have closed, and so many of you out there who have assessed some of the information, watched some of the videotapes, come up with some other conclusions. Well, the FBI is not closing the door on those conclusions, which begs a whole larger story now. Is there someone else involved? Are there other people involved? And are there going to be other people called in? Well, Kash Patel outlines all of it in great detail. And when I get rolling into it, I'm not going to want to stop. So huge favor and a thank you. Again, thank you all for listening to my advice and my request from you to help me beat the algorithm to make sure this news continues to come out. It's a fairly simple ask. Make sure you always have your bell checked to all. I need you to double check every time because sometimes it gets changed. If you're new here, I want you to subscribe. Your shares, you're joining as member here. Always putting a comment down below. That helps the algorithm know that this news matters. All of you who've moved over and continue this podcast as I do almost every single day over at restrictedrepublic.com. Thank you so much for joining. So many hundreds on top of hundreds on top of hundreds of you have joined just over the last week alone. And I can't tell you how much that means to me and Lisa. I also want to give a very special thank you to a sponsor who's been with me for so long. Have you gone to justiceknightgold.com yet? I certainly hope you have. An amazing company. If you've built up over 100,000 or more in investments, do you really want all of it tied to the stock market? Banks and billionaires don't. That's why they're buying gold and silver. And with Noble Gold Investments, you can too. Noble Gold makes it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, whether you hold it in your hand or inside your retirement account. You've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time to protect it? Now I have a ton of information in the description box below. You go down there. Make sure you go to justiceknightgold.com. Remember, there's always a risk to investing. No guarantees, but right now, for every new qualified IRA or cash purchase account, you get this amazing 1 10-ounce silver flag bar and 1 silver American Eagle proof coin simply by going to justiceknightgold.com. It's that simple, folks. Love you to join them because they are the ones to help me bring you this video today that we're now going to roll back into. So Kash Patel goes on. The location where the shot was taken, one thing they're exploring. The possibility of accomplices, second thing they're now exploring. The text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to the September 10, 2025 assassination. Well, that opened up Pandora's box now, didn't it? This is a different FBI than what we had before. Normally, they would have closed all those doors, but FBI Director Kash Patel appears to have not closed any of them. So what of the conspiracy theories, well, may be proven to be true, because what he's stating here is he hasn't closed any of them. including this video footage that so many of you saw. You remember what happened here. The hand signals, which is hard to miss.
Over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
And the shot that no one will ever forget. The hand gestures, a lot of keyboard warriors guessing what that meant. The FBI not closing the door on those hand gestures. We haven't concluded anything yet. One conspiracy yet to be closed down. Images that no one will ever forget. Now there's some conspiracies that have been closed down, such as, don't these two men look familiar? Except the man on your left has been part of Charlie Kirk's security team at many events and is not the man on the right. But it goes further. FBI investigating more than 20 people in Discord group tied to Charlie Kirk murder suspect. We know that number is far larger now. And I was hoping that FBI Director Kash Patel's FBI would not stop on this investigation. So many of those that I've shown you, many broadcasts, and I'll put links above, or if you're restricted, you simply go back to my other videos that showed you how many people seem to have known this date before it happened. And if I was Kash Patel, I wouldn't be closing the door on that either. And now Kash Patel's announced he's not. He goes on. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice to protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecutions. We cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now. We will ensure every question is addressed at the appropriate moment. Is every one of these conspiracy theories going to turn out to be something malicious? More than likely not. But will some of them turn out to be more than what we've been told? I'm going to guess the answer to that is yes. I'm going to guess there's some other folks involved in this that have yet to be identified. And if you're the FBI, you can tell the public. And it's, if you noticed in my prior broadcast, why I have X'd out those names. Because if the investigation's ongoing, it's irresponsible to put the names. A, because you're simply alerting to those under investigation and intruding in an investigation, which I won't do. Kash Patel goes on further. Regarding specific details, such as questions about the plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site. Many of you have heard this. We can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap. You all heard this storyline coming off of many posts. This post was one that triggered the event. A private jet under the tail number N888KG left Provo Airport an hour after the shooting. Suspiciously, 30 minutes into the flight, it drops off the ADS-B illegally and reappears heading back towards Provo approximately an hour later, and conspiracies abound. And Kash Patel doing exactly what he said, circling back on stories that he can at least partially close, but leaving open those he cannot. 3 or 4 major storylines. But then in the memorial itself yesterday, after we hear the entire FBI mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk, we will not rest until justice is served, and our investigation into this assassination will continue until every question is answered, including this exchange. I'd love to see your comments below. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. What? You're joking, right? Now, there's a lot of suspicion around this text exchange, and I don't believe the FBI's done investigating it yet. Another open item on the agenda. This man we've learned a lot about now, haven't we? George Zinn. Remember his screaming immediately after the assassination?
Shoot me! Shoot me! Was that you? We don't know if it's him or not.
Will there be more to his story? He's at a lot of events. We'll find out. Now, another conspiracy was fed yesterday, something that many of you have talked about within the comments. Netanyahu forced to deny Israel was behind Charlie Kirk assassination after monstrous lie. And what was this? What did this stem from? Well, Charlie Kirk made a comment once, and I'll let you listen into it. And by the way, not the only comment Charlie Kirk made.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
That is at least one of the clips that fed the conspiracy. I just want to give you some background as to why many of you may have been hearing about this Israel storyline. And now the world heard about it yesterday. Now there's many ways to interpret what Tucker Carlson stated yesterday. I want you to listen to it first.
And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem.
And the internet went crazy. Now, that was the clip that was put out. Some of the message was cut off because there was more to it after the laughter.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted, and the Beatitudes tell it, I think, the most crisply. Everything is sort of the opposite of what you think it's going to be. So how is Charlie's message different? And Charlie was a political person who was deeply interested in coalition building and in getting the right people in office because he knew that vast improvements are possible politically. But he also knew that politics is not the final answer. It can't answer the deepest questions, actually. That the only real solution is Jesus.
Puts the message in a different context, doesn't it? Because some would use what Tucker said as he was throwing that out there. Or as the author of this post stated, absolutely no way did Tucker Carlson just say this at Charlie Kirk's memorial service. Took a portion of it to feed the conspiracy, and this is some of the information we have to work through. But to me, this is a different battle that we're fighting here. And I'm shocked to state that Elon Musk probably put it the best.
Why was he killed?
He was killed because his words made a difference. Because he was showing people the light. And he was killed by the dark.
And that is the most accurate way to put it. He was showing people the light, and he was taken by the dark. And that is the battle that we're fighting right now. Elon Musk and Trump finally sitting next to each other. Will this battle of good versus evil bring these two men back together? We'll find out. Another conspiracy coming out of the memorial service yesterday. Trump making an announcement yesterday. I hope you heard it.
Healthy again. And tomorrow we're going to have one of the biggest announcement, really medically, I think, in the history of our country. We're going to be doing it with Bobby and Oz and all of the professionals. I think you're going to find it to be amazing. I think we found an answer to autism. How about that? Autism.
Now, once you put in the comments below what you think that is, I know what it is. Go ahead and throw it in there. He'll make this announcement today. He's giving you some pre-notions of what this is. But back to this argument of what this is all about. People warned to not let the memorial become a political pulpit. And although HuffPost called it venomous, let me remind HuffPost of exactly who makes memorials political. It's not what I heard yesterday. It's not what I saw yesterday. We didn't have riots in the streets or protests or broken windows, robbery or theft or fires, torching of buildings or cars or property. No. You had prayer vigils. You had respect and common decency. You had a widow forgiving her husband's assassin. That's far different than what we see out of the left. Do not let Charlie Kirk's memorial become Wellstone Memorial 2.0 as it happened in 2006. Warning, Republicans. Because this is what, when the Democrats have a memorial, this is what you get.
Let the people of this state hear your voice on his behalf to keep his legacy alive and help us win this election for Paul Wellstone.
For Paul Wellstone, will you stand up and keep fighting for social and economic justice? Say yes. We will win. We will win.
Slightly different, I guess, huh? But you want to throw shade at the Republicans who did nothing. Nothing. Our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him. As hard as it was for her to say the words. And it's the message that we try to resonate here. It's not the party that people believe it is, and it's now glaringly obvious. No matter what they try to do or say. David Axelrod goes on CNN yesterday, and he's worried. Not about political loss. He's worried that Christians might be galvanized in their faith. Now, a more blatant statement I have not heard. But yet it was the HuffPost that declared venom. Folks, this darkness always needs light shined on it. And there's people from both sides of the aisle realizing that now. All this did, all that Charlie Kirk helped to do, was to shine a light in the darkest corners. And show what was truly there. And everyone seeing it. But remember, this was decades in the making. I want you to listen to this before I transition to part 2 of the podcast. People forget about these things. Because what led to this was a culture of divide, a culture of hate. This continual labeling of Nazi and fascists. But you see, it was in the playbook. This is back in 1943. And tell me if this doesn't sound familiar to you.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, when certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable build-ups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind.
So I guess the playbook played out. And no, in this channel, I'll never let anyone forget. We'll just make sure we piece the message together, help it flow into a story, and as I've told you, and I'll continue to state for all our new members here, which has grown exponentially, we are not soundbite news. No, we tell a political story, which is different than what most people do out there anymore. And it is obviously resonating because of how many thousands of you have now joined. And we piece it together. And we go further into these storylines, and we're going to take this, not to a venomous wake as they would like you to believe, but to show you who holds the true venom. As I continue forward now, I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless Justice Knight. Signing out.